This president has radicalized so many more people than ISIS ever did.
What? What does she have to gain by lying? I present to you Exhibit A. Question of the day. To lead this off, right now it's simple. Media is blaming Trump for dividing the country. We see this all the time, whereas most conservatives, and of course the President Donald Trump, thinks the media is largely responsible. Not entirely responsible, but largely responsible. Your thoughts? And by the way, is political division necessarily a bad thing? I'm okay with calling someone evil if they falsely accuse you of gang rape. Let's start with that. Right now, we start talking about this, people going, oh, how can you call your political opposition evil? Hold on a second. Think about this really quickly before we get to the clips. If someone walks into your place of work right now and says, he's a gang rapist or she's a gang rapist with zero evidence, and a bunch of other people with zero evidence actually don't corroborate it, you're like, hey, they're going to corroborate it. Like, actually, we weren't there. No. But what would you say? Man, that's an evil thing to do. Then your boss says, oh, listen, they might have been out of line with the gang rape accusations. But evil? Okay, so let's set this up. This is how the media has been presenting it. Here we go.
This is his rhetoric that has created this moment in time, and to ignore that is to ignore a huge component of what's going on here.
What? Okay, we don't necessarily, just let's go to Trump's response, which I love.
The media also has a responsibility to set a civil tone and to stop the endless hostility and constant negative and oftentimes false attacks and stories. Have to do it.
I love it.
Have to do it.
Yes, he goes off.
That last part.
And oftentimes false attacks. Have to do it. You got to do it, right, folks? You got to do it. And now back to Proctor.
You got to do it.
In his mind, he's like, nailed it.
And every time one of those stories comes up, it's always this smug, elitist, like Trump is the worst person on the planet. He obviously caused all this. It's not true.
Trump divided the country? Hold on a second. Black Lives Matter? Occupy Wall Street? Baltimore? You know this stuff well, right? The whole point is Trump is the one who divided this country initially. Remember, I talked about, we got into so much trouble on this program because we switched the Obama Hope poster and it said bitch and it was a picture of Hillary Clinton. And the point that I made was you're going to see the night, you are going to see almost to the day, and certainly election night, where everyone who was racist, who didn't vote for Obama, is going to become a sexist. Now we're just all of the things, and you can tack on transphobe to the list. But you're going to say that President Donald Trump is the one who divided the country? Hey, gang rapist. Hey, you're evil, man. Can you believe this guy? The nerve. What's more divisive, smearing someone, and by proxy, all of their political ilk? Or pointing out the smearing. So let's go through the top 5 false smears of Trump just from the last few weeks. All right, here's obviously the latest one, that Trump, this is the media's route, they've run with this statistic. They've nonstop run with it. I sound higher than Nimmer right now. Because of that Trump is to blame for the synagogue shooting. Here you go.
Day 648 of the Trump administration, as the nation has now witnessed in the space of just days 2 acts of domestic terrorism, the second vastly darker than the first. The White House is now consumed by its effort to defend itself from those who see the link between the president's words and what we've witnessed.
Yes, you can find his anti-Jewish rhetoric right next to your rocket fire, Brian Williams. Frickin' asymmetrical genetic anomaly. And by the way, in case you were wondering, the guy who shot up the synagogue thought Donald Trump was a secret Jew. So they just try to say, right, here's what they do. They just say, they say, Nazis hated Jews. Nazis, get rid of socialists, they're right wing. Therefore, anyone who doesn't like Jews, right wing. Donald Trump, responsible for the, no! Donald Trump has been a huge supporter of Israel, which is actually a huge reason that the left doesn't like him, as well as the very small minority of vocal racists in this country. Don't believe me? Listen to him yourself.
The Jews have endured terrible persecution, and you know that. We've all read it, we've studied it. They've gone through a lot. And those seeking their destruction, we will seek their destruction.
Yeah, but he's anti-Semitic.
Nailed it. You know, seeking their, we will seek, all right, Donald, you're landing this plane, their destruction.
Pause for effect.
And in his head, he's going, The point is, how do you blame the last thing you can say about Donald Trump is that he's an anti-Semite.
No, of course not.
Have you met his son-in-law? These are the same people who are like, Donald Trump's giving too much power to Kushner, and okay, I go. Also, he hates Jews. All right, let's move on to the next myth that comes to us from MSNBC, that he's a terrorist sympathizer. Listen,
This has always been a problem with this president. He has always shown a sympathy or a dismissiveness towards terrorism. He is a terrorist sympathizer.
Let me just say things.
I've never heard that. Good God.
Donald Trump likes terrorists. Also, Kevin Spacey likes women. Oh, now I know not to listen to you. Actually, by the way, if we're going to talk about actual terrorism, Trump has a much better record than Obama. And certainly the rhetoric, which people have talked about as being... Right, remember the travel ban?
Yeah.
They just like, listen, maybe Muslims are great, American-loving patriots, but the terrorists are the ones I hate. Oh, really? Now we're anti-terrorist? Barack Obama traded terror. He was like there were baseball trading cards. Terrorists for traitors.
Oh, gosh.
By the way, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed. It doesn't mean a whole lot on YouTube. And, of course, join Mug Club if you want to watch The Daily Show. For people who are not already subscribed to Mug Club, you get 7-day free trial. It's what allows us to keep going on with the free content. You had something you were about to say there, Nimmer.
Oh, I was just going to point out how great that black man was lit. Like, maybe CNN doesn't do everything wrong. He looked great.
Oh,
he looks great.
Yeah, I see what you're doing there.
But you know what? He didn't look as dramatic as you. You're like you're like a Sergio Leone film.
And he also didn't dress in all black. Maybe you should take some cues.
Also
maybe
true.
we both have some distance to cover.
Also, maybe you shouldn't have so much melanin in your skin. Let's be honest. He was a shade, just a scotch lighter than you.
I'm not even going to feel bad when I rob all of you later. No regrets.
Who's perpetuating stereotypes now, sir?
Top smear number 3.
I can't find my bike.
From CNN. This is just, you know what? This is just the myth number 3. Of course, the recent, the get her done alarm clock bomber. And just roll the clip.
This is something they are going to embrace. This is a strategy they are going to move forward with, even in the face of
cup.
literal bombs sent to the news media and Democrats.
Like, do you think the naughty librarian look still works because I'm 55? No, not right now. I'm just saying you're about to hit that. I used to, like S.E. Cupp, I used to spend time with her, but when I tune into CNN, it's like, hey, S.E. Cupp, you will only be employed here if you do nothing but bash Trump. Got it? So long as the check clears. And let's be clear about this. Don't take our word for it. This is where LeVar Burton, right? You know LeVar Burton. He would say, take the word of a 6-year-old kid's for it. And they'd be like, I like the book. I'm reading Rainbow. LeVar, why didn't you just articulate this? But don't take our word for it. Trump's actual words on the bomber.
These terrorizing acts are despicable and have no place in our country. No place. I've instructed authorities to spare no resource or expense in finding those responsible and bringing them to swift and certain justice. And we will prosecute them, him, her, whoever it may be, to the fullest extent of the law.
It seems pretty cut and dry. We know it. We know it's true, folks. We know it's true. I got to get back to my speech. But you know it, right? We all know it, right?
He went off prompter.
I went off book. I'm like Vince Vaughn. Hey, baby, over here, right? I fast talking wheeler and dealer. Not exactly, but I there's something refreshing about just his response here. He was like, basically, that was a presidential way of saying, you're a piece of shit. Top smear number 2. This is actually a congressperson on CNN. Oh boy. Again, we're back. He's the anti-Semite responsible for the synagogue shooting, but his son-in-law may have ordered the murder of Washington Post journalist. How do we pronounce? Is it Khashoggi?
Khashoggi.
No, you're not. Well, we're going to hear it in the next. We're going to hear it in the next clip.
The reporting that Jared Kushner
That's a weird-looking
may
face.
have with U.S. intelligence delivered a hit list, an enemies list, to the Crown Prince, to MBS in Saudi Arabia, and that the prince then may have acted on that, and one of the people that he took action against is Mr. Khashoggi.
Oh, so close, Khashoggi.
Khashoggi. What?
Here's the thing. There's actually no evidence of the Kushner hit list, the conspiracy theory. Like was it a false flag?
I didn't say that.
Great lead. And here's the thing. After some initial trepidation regarding the blaming of Saudi Arabia, and I talked about that was not. I'm not a fan of Saudi Arabia in any capacity. Yeah. All right. I have a problem when you make women dressed like ninjas, or they're not allowed. I don't know if they're allowed to drive now. I don't know the exact rules. It's changing all the time. They're not. They're definitely not allowed to use a passing lane. I know that. After waiting, Trump was pretty harsh on the Saudis. Here you go.
It was carried out poorly, and the cover-up was one of the worst in the history of cover-ups. It's very simple. Bad deal that had never been thought of.
I love it. They said, just say, terrible cover-up. That's it, President Trump's advisor. He's like, got it. Like, just trust me. You say it, that'll be enough.
Adding to it.
Absolutely. I will stop. Bad deal. Okay, I gotta say it. I wouldn't have made that deal. Frankly, they would have said, this guy is not gonna make that deal.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't. Nailed it. All right, number one, I don't even want to say conspiracy. Number one smear against President Donald Trump. And this all ties into this, again, the idea that we're divided. And people sometimes act as though us doing a change my mind, or us, frankly, just crashing something, just crashing a show, to screw it up because people are out there indoctrinating children, to act as though that's the same as the kind of political division that's occurring on mainstream media. Everything. I don't agree with it. I just don't agree with it. Just watch what the CNN panelist has to say. Number one.
This president has radicalized so many more people than ISIS ever did.
What? Was she talking about the get her done flags and confused it with the bombs? This president has radicalized more people than ISIS. Nimmer, can you confirm?
How many people have been like MAGA and beheadings? Like, I just want to know, like, how many of those?
Allahu MAGA!
Got an electric turkey carver. I just want to make sure you all know this is to make America great again. All right, sorry about this. There were no witnesses. Only 3. Not enough.
Nice.
No evidence, of course, at all. Synagogue shooter, hated Trump, thought that he was a secret Jew. All right. Let's be really clear. Because this was said in context about, she was saying he's radicalized more people than ISIS.
No.
No.
She obviously has never met ISIS, right? She has never done any research on what ISIS does. Come on.
Right.
You can't even make that claim with a straight face.
Well,
she did try to walk it back. They gave her a chance to on the panel a little bit later on, but she did a poor job at walking
I don't care if they give you a chance.
She reasserted her point.
Yeah, exactly. She reasserted her point by walking. Again, go watch the clip in its entirety. Take the context for yourself. By the way, by that logic, of course, Bernie Sanders has incited people too. Remember, but I don't know if you remember this. I think we have the clip, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Pelosi's response when people suggested that Bernie Sanders radicalized. By the way, I want to make sure that you understand here. I agree with Pelosi here.
Yeah.
I think she's weird and creepy, but I agree with her when people suggested that Bernie radicalized the Scalise shooter.
How dare they say such a thing? How dare they for them to all of a sudden be sanctimonious as if they never seen such a thing before?
You know what, though?
Right.
With you, Nancy Pelosi, everyone has the right to be sanctimonious. Like, that's the thing. It's like, how dare you get sanctimonious? Usually I'm not a sanctimonious guy, but you're Nancy Pelosi, so
you bring it out.
I'll take that liberty right now. You were denied communion. And your face is removable. I don't know. I like sanctimonious is only the position to be taken when discussing something with Nancy Pelosi. Here's one thing too. Trump is absolutely hard in the media. Okay.
Yeah, of course.
In conclusion, and I'm getting very near the end of this now. Name that movie line. Comment below. Does he ever accuse them of murder though?
No.
The media. Or of being terrorists? Or should I say, I shouldn't even say ever. Does he consistently accuse them of murder or family members of murder or of being terrorists or of radicalizing more people than ISIS? Again, someone calls you, when he said they were evil, he was talking about the media who came forward and said that Kavanaugh needed to step down because someone came forward with no who, what, where, when, why, accusing a man of being a gang rapist, and all the people who said, we know this isn't true, were accused themselves of being evil. And he said, oh, look, there's no evidence. Evil stuff. Evil stuff, folks. That's as bad as the actual possibly false accusation. And you know what? False accusations of rape. Let's just say that. Yeah. Where's Christine Ford? Aside from the GoFundMe, that's now what? Accrued, is it $1 million? $800,000?
Pretty close.
What does she have to gain by lying? I present to you Exhibit A. And B and C and D and there's about 1 million exhibits. So yeah, listen, there have been acts of violence committed on both sides. I think we would agree about that. Charlottesville, terrible. Sorry. Alarm clock getter
you
done.
Apologize to him as though he was there.
Alarm clock getter. But here's the thing, Charlottesville, everyone was mocking Charlottesville.
Yeah.
Before it even happened, you had people who would be considered alt-right mocking it, and people who aren't even considered alt-right. Myself and like friend Owen Benjamin were like, this is ridiculous. There's people with Walgreens tiki torches. This is absurd. Of course, there was like 20 people. It was terrible though. So you have that example, and you have alarm clock packages. That's about it. Mass violence as a movement is exclusive to the left. Let me ask you this. When was the last conservative Baltimore? When was the last right-wing Portland Antifa pulling people out of cars and punching them in the face? When was the last time you had conservatives knocking people out at airports en masse because of #FightFor15? Right? What? Hold on a second. Someone doesn't need me for a fillet of fish. They're going to automate it? Oh, I'm going to go punch an old lady at the carry-on carousel. This is what happens. Black Lives Matter offing cops. Remember the Dallas shooting?
Yeah.
That's more than all right-wing extremists combined recently. Anything comparable. When was the last version? You know what? Let's even scale it back from that. Tea parties back then, and I know a lot of you weren't around at this point, tea parties protesting taxes from Barack Obama would actually leave public parks cleaner than they found it. Occupy Wall Street, they were throwing AIDS-ridden towels on by the way, fellow protesters' tents. Black Lives Matter, Baltimore, anything comparable en masse as an actual movement coming from the right. Okay, I'll wait. Bring it, comment. I'll wait, you evil bastards. Hey there, YouTube viewer. If you like this video, you first off should probably seek counseling, but you should subscribe or hit the notification bell or watch one of these videos that's playing. The truth is, I don't know what any of that means anymore. If you try and subscribe or hit the notification bell, you won't be notified. And if you try and click one of these videos, it's just going to take you to BuzzFeed Boldly Fat Broads as they get carried out of their houses where they had to break down the north wall and they get carried out in a land whale tarp. I don't know what's happening on YouTube. I know what's happening with Mug Club. LouderWithCrowder.com/Mug Club. You get to watch The Daily Show 1 hour every single day, not just clips, along with like 15 other shows for $69 annually if you're a student and or veteran or military. And you get to keep us here on YouTube for free because we can irritate them by your support. It's worth it, right?